Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today I want to take a look at watches that tend to be very expensive. These are all over $50,000 or 50,000 Swiss francs. And you might ask yourself, why would I want to look at a bunch of watches that I can't afford? I can't afford a single one of these watches. However, one of the things we can learn from watches we can afford are certain features that we might look for in watches that we can't afford. So keep that in mind when we're going through all of these different watches. And these are the Greubel Forsey handmade. This watch is 750,000 Swiss francs, which is $900,000, somewhere in that range. They only made between 2 to 3 a year. Now, the name of this watch is Handmade One. And that's one of the things I think that we'll find in these really expensive watches is that they're not mass produced. In other words, a watchmaker works for a long time to make a single watch. And this one is a great example. Now, they note that with 95% of the timepiece, and this includes the hairspring, everything was done by hand. And a single timepiece required 6,000 hours of work. Now, that's about equivalent to 3 years of man hours. And so that'll give you an idea of the amount of time. And no wonder, I don't even know how they make 2 to 3 a year with that much effort into them. But it's really an amazing watch. Now, this next one is by a couple young guys, Peterman Badat, the Deadbeat Second. This is manual winding. By the way, too, one of the things we're going to see is almost all of them are manual wound. And you might say, well, wait a minute, wouldn't it be easier to have a automatic? And and so when I go down and out and about, yeah, but a lot of times there isn't the same kind or same level of horology in that. They're not bad, don't get me wrong, and there are some great ones, but most of the ones that are really these high-end watches are hand-wound. This particular one is 18,000 semi-oscillations per hour. That's another thing we're going to see is that 18,000 semi-oscillations per hour is 2.5 hertz. All of these watches that I just went through and picked them randomly, they all turned out they were either 3 hertz or 2.5 hertz. 3 hertz is 21,600 semi-oscillations per hour, and then 2.5 or 18,000. 36 hours. This has got jumping seconds, and I tried to show a sort of a close-up of the movement in this watch. It is really a gorgeous movement. It's another thing. They're extremely well finished movements. Now this one by Sylvain Pinaud, the Origine, probably said it wrong. Here again, you have has that same. It's 55 hours hand wound. It's got a large free-sprung balance wheel. I really like big balance wheels. The reason I like them so much is that even though they're slower, they have less interruptions, you might say. In other words, you have the inertia of a larger wheel keeps the time better than the smaller wheel. And so this is what this one had used. So you got the big balance wheel, and it's coupled with a Phillips hairspring or balance spring, And so this allows for precision adjustment. It's 21,600. Now this one is 73,200 Swiss francs. This is what the person who made it, Sylvain Pinaud, he said, from the outset I had in mind to make with the Origine a watch for the most discerning collectors. It was therefore imperative that the movement be at the height of a timepiece of this level and in line with the requirements of purists. You got purist here. I mean, there's everything about them is purist. Some people use it as a derogatory term. Oh, you're a purist. So what? To me. Okay, this one, Grönefeld, 1941, Grönograaf, Grönograaf, what a name, 180,500 Swiss francs. This watch is by the Grönefeld brothers. Again, it's hand-wound. The power reserve is 53 hours, 3 hertz, and it has hours, minutes, power reserve indicator. It's a chronograph. This watch there's a total of 5 hands. Well, you can also include that little power reserve indicator as a hand as well. Very interesting chronograph. I'm not into chronographs, but I like this one. There are only a couple that I like, and this is one of them. MB&F LMX Titanium, 106,000 Swiss francs. They only made 33 of these. And it's a manual wound, 18,000 semi-oscillations per hour. It includes hours, minutes, day, power reserve indicator, dual time, weekday numerical power reserve display. This watch is one I happen to like. I happen to like a lot of MB&F watches. They're a lot of fun. They're very interesting. And one of the interesting things that they do is that they have a lot of the movement on the viewer side of the dial. In other words, they have it on the top side so you can see their movements a lot. Okay, now this next one is an FP Journe, $136,700. This is something screwy going on with FP Journes. I saw this same watch for sale on Chrono24 for $400,000. Just really nuts. This one has it's caliber 1520. It has 2 remontois égalités, 21,600 semi-oscillations per hour. I've got one of the older ones. This has the original. In fact, it's very old. It has the original movement in it, which was, I guess, about the first 20 years or so they made them. They had the same movement. They changed the dials a lot, but this is the newest one, and it's really, I really like what they've done to it. They've added 2, one for each of the 2 movements inside. Remontois égalité, so it's really nice. This next one is by H. Moser and Company, a Pioneer Cylindrical Tourbillon Skeleton. This is a lot of the other ones. This is an award winner, and this is the only one I came across that had a self-winding. In other words, it's an automatic. 79,000 Swiss francs. And I like this watch a lot. I'm not much into tourbillons. This one I like. And I don't like skeletons. This one I like. This was sort of my exceptions to watches that had certain features I didn't like, but this one I do like a lot because they didn't just skeletonize a watch. They put together a watch where the movement was made so that it could go with this open face that they have here. Love this watch. Self-winding. I'm not much for self-winding, but that's okay. It wouldn't kill me. It's got a, again, 3 hertz, 21,600. Cool watch. This one is called the Voetenlanen 28SC, 74,000 Swiss francs, 10 pieces. This again has a nice big balance wheel. You can see it down there in the lower right corner. It's this huge balance wheel. 18,000 semi-oscillations per hour. What a watch. This is a gorgeous watch. Everything about it I like, including the hands. It's sort of modified observatory and brigade hands. Love it. Well, that's all of the watches I cannot afford. I thought I'd present them. One of the things they do have in common that I do like, and I try to find that in my own watches, and that is they have a lower, below 4 hertz frequency. None of them have any silicon in them. And big balance wheels, hand wound. But they're expensive. I can't afford a single one of these. I can barely afford to talk about them. That's how expensive they are. Anyhow, I'd be really interested in what you think about these watches and like to hear from you. Also, an opportunity to subscribe if you like. Until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection.